Hey everybody, this is Dr. Dain. Great to be with you again. Here's a question I get a lot, and I'd like to just do a little bit of an explanation of it. I think it might help some things for some of you out there who have heard our definition of consciousness. So what's the Access Consciousness definition of consciousness? What's the Access Consciousness definition of consciousness? Well, it's where everything exists and nothing is judged. Yeah, just let that sink in for a moment, okay? Where everything exists and nothing is judged. Can you imagine what that might mean? What that might actually be in a practical level in your world? Because a lot of times we have so much left over from anything we've ever done in the past and everybody else's points of view. And, if we went to church or if we, did psychology or self-help books or did, spirituality and metaphysical stuff, it's like we have all these ideas of somehow what's right and what's wrong, which is kind of interesting because let's get this concept for a moment where everything exists and nothing is judged as a rightness or a wrongness. What? But how are you going to go out and live your life? Well, if you function from consciousness, you would start to function from your awareness of, if I choose this, what will this create? So for example, rather than, let's say you're in a relationship, okay? And you just absolutely love the person you're with, and they do something and it makes you angry, that's your initial reaction, right? And you go to think about yelling. Well, in the rest of the world, you don't yell because it's wrong. Well, yeah, but what does that do for you? It's just like, oh, now I'm bad and wrong for even thinking about it. So now you go into judgment of you, right? Well, what if instead you recognized that if everything existed and nothing were judged, even if the yelling were not judged as a wrongness, but what effect will it create? What effect is this going to create if I'm this unkind to the person that I love? Well, hopefully not the person that I love, but this person that I love. What effect is this going to create in my relationship? What effect is this going to create for her or him? What future is it going to create? And so rather than functioning from judgment as though that is going to lead you to making only the right choices so your life will work, what this is about is recognizing that there's just choice. It's not about choosing it because it's right. It's not about not choosing it because it's wrong. It's about what choice will this create? And does that effect that it's going to create, is it in line with me being in integrity with myself? It's like, whoa, it's almost like growing up all of a sudden. You know what I mean? Because now rather than going, oh, well, they said this in this book that this was a right thing to do, and this person said this was a wrong thing to do, rather than going, oh, well, I read this in a book, so I'm going to choose it, you go, I read this in a book, what effect will this create in choosing that? So some of the questions I get, can you be conscious and in love? Absolutely. Consciousness includes everything. Can you be conscious and angry? Sure. But the thing about being conscious and angry is because you're not judging it, you acknowledge it for what it is, and all of a sudden it can now dissipate a lot faster than it can if you judge it. Because one of the things that keeps something like anger around or guilt around is your continuous judgment of you for having gone there in the first place. If you recognize, wow, I went there, okay, cool, what would I like to choose now? Now you have a totally different set of possibilities available. And really what this thing of functioning from no judgment gives you is possibilities that never existed before. And a possibility to perhaps be the kind person you always wanted to be. Possibility for being the happy person you maybe always. A possibility for being the person that everybody else looks to and goes, wow, how is it that you don't get riled up like all the rest of us that you maybe always wanted to be? And that quite frankly, I know you already are. So can you be conscious and be a doctor? Yes. Can you be conscious and be a trash cleaner, picker-upper person? Yes. Can you be conscious and be a husband, a wife, a housekeeper, a mother, brother, daughter? Yes, all of it. Because consciousness includes everything. Judges nothing. But more importantly, I would say, is it includes all of you. So how much have you been judging you for? Just like in the last 3 days, how many judgments have you had of you for doing or saying something that you thought was wrong or unkind? Well, if you could come out of the judgment of it, could you then recognize there was probably a motivation or a point of view behind it? And then could we change it so you never had to have that motivation and point of view there again and could choose what you wanted to in the future?